So a couple of things I want to tell you guys a little brief story, and it applies to both sides of this piece of paper. So I think it'll make sense for today. Um, I worked for a guy who was an engineer full time, and he had a company, and I actually ran that company for him for a while. And while working with him, I learned a lot about engineering. He was an engineer, he was a pilot, and he was a licensed NHRA dragster racer. So he was a very intelligent man, and conversations with him always left you walking away with all kinds of information. So from that experience with him, I learned a few things about business, and I also learned a lot about manufacturing. I was able to go to a lot of the plants where they built the products that we sold and see how they were manufactured. So today we're looking at the Zforce 950 from CFMOTO. This is not your typical CFMOTO. This isn't anything like any of the units that they make. This is something that they have specifically built with the intention of taking themselves from fourth or fifth in the marketplace to number one. Like, this machine is built beyond the specs of anything else that they build and most of the specs of anything else built in the market right now. So there really is a lot here, and I want to take some time to go through it today. But before I do, on the back of your paper, you've got some information from our orientation packet. It talks about our vision for the company. Okay? It says to be the preferred place for people to purchase products for their livestock and outdoor lifestyle. So I want to tell you something about G5 also, is that we're not built to be fourth or fifth in the marketplace when it comes to being a feed store or an outdoor store. We're built to be number one. Everything about this store, if you look around this store, it does not look like a typical feed store, right? If you look around this store, it doesn't look like your mom and pop feed store where you can go buy hay and feed for your animals. This is premium, high quality. This is the top scale of retail. Any retail environment that you ever work in, you could compare this to it. You know, I mean, I think for what we are, we're at the highest level of competition when it comes to this retail environment that we work in, right? So I think that you know, we're all thankful that we have that opportunity to work in this type of retail environment to be able to use that to serve our customers, right? Um, it should be it should be that we are the preferred place for people to go just because of the environment itself. But then on top of that, because of the people that work here. The people that work here make this place the number one when it comes to uh, your feed for your animals and also for your outdoor lifestyle, right? So think about that today, as you're going through your day, and think about the great advantage that we have over our other feed stores and over other outdoor stores being in this, this environment that we're in. Excuse me. So that's our vision for the company, and I think it says a lot about us. We want people to prefer us as the place where they purchase their products for their livestock and outdoor lifestyle. So think about our customer base. If you want to be the best employee that you can be at G5, you have to know both sides of the business, right? Dylan's a perfect example of that. He has a good grasp on both sides of the business, the livestock side of the business and the outdoor lifestyle side of the business. When we look at this fish up here on the wall, I bet Dylan can tell us what type of fish it is. It's a marlin, right? I said that before the class. It's a marlin. I knew he would know. Some people have looked at it and said it's a swordfish, Alyssa. But regardless, if you if you want to work here and be at the top of your game working here, you need to know both sides of that business. You need to know a little bit about the outdoor side. You need to know a little bit about the hay and feed side to be able to serve the customers the best that you can. So going back to the Zforce 950. So MSRP on this machine is $15,499. Of course, that doesn't include freight, prep. There are other, registration fees, taxes that are on top of that. But just your basic MSRP, $15,499. So this unit in particular, we just received. It's a 2023 model. It's the Zforce 950 HO, which means high output, and the EX, which means it's a wider model. It's not necessarily a model that's made for riding trails, which are normally 50 inches. This is a wider model. I believe it's upwards of 60 inches wide, and it's better for basically wide open areas or maybe even out in the dunes, like California or out west. So there's a lot of opportunity to run this and run it fast and run it hard. It's got to be wide open terrain um, for this type of vehicle to perform. It's a 950cc unit. I believe it's actually 963. They, of course, round it down. 90 horsepower. Gas tank holds 9.6 gallons. It will run about 70 to 80 miles on a tank of gas. It is a 2-passenger vehicle. The weight capacity is about 500 pounds. Basically, if you go over 500 pounds, it's recommended that you only operate it in low gear. Okay, so between passengers and cargo, if you exceed 507 pounds, you need to only operate the vehicle in low gear. Towing capacity is 550. Hauling on the back bed area there is 220 pounds. Top speed is 70 miles per hour. Now imagine, I mean, a lot of you have done 70 miles per hour on the interstate, but have you done 70 miles per hour off-road? That's a whole different experience, right? The terrain is not smooth, the ground is not level, there's all kinds of uncertainty ahead of you. 70 miles an hour off-road, you have to be in a vehicle that's capable of managing that, and this is a vehicle that can do that. The ROP system on this vehicle is second to none. You've got rollover protection, you've got seat belts, you have lights. These are all safety measures that are incorporated into it. No dealer options have been added to this unit, but we do have CFMOTO windshields in stock that we can add to this unit, and a bumper also. It does come with a 1-year warranty. You have to be at least 16 years old or older to operate this vehicle. Recommended safety equipment: fire extinguisher, 4-point harness seat belts. You can upgrade from the 3-point to the 4-point harness to be a little safer. One of the biggest causes of death in a side-by-side accident or rollover is being ejected from the vehicle. Normally it comes from people not wearing seatbelts at all, but if you can have a 3-point versus a 4-point versus a 3-point, the safer you can make it for yourself and your family, the better off you are. Wear a helmet, goggles, gloves, boots. Some suggested accessories: audio. You can put an LED light bar, light up whips, windshield. I always say LED light bar, and I always say lighted whips because they look great on a vehicle. But more importantly than that, LED light bars help you to see farther than your headlights. And if you're running 70 miles an hour, you need to be able to see as far ahead of you as you possibly can. And when you're running LED light whips on the back, it may make it look like a UFO or whatever, but it stands out. And the other people that are running in the woods with you at night will be able to see you coming and see you going away from them, so that they're not running into you. So that's why I always suggest those. Windshield, of course, that's always great protection to have. Financing is available through Sheffield and Synchrony, and yes, we do offer extended warranties through ASC and CFMOTO Care. A couple of things about this vehicle in particular: 13 inches of ground clearance. That's the most of any CFMOTO model, and most of the brands out there don't have a high-speed vehicle like this that has that much ground clearance. Okay. The steel from the frame, I want to talk to you about that for a second. Again, going back to working for an engineer and someone who was a pilot and also was an NHRA dragster racer, I got to hear some terms occasionally. Things like FEA steel. So FEA means finite element analysis optimized. So that means that they basically make sure that all the correct elements are in the steel to give it as much strength as they possibly can, also making it as light as they possibly can. And this is technology that's used in the aerospace industry, right? This is where it came from, where it's very important that something be light and strong, right? So they're using this same technology now to build the CFMOTO frames for the 950. Also, they're using HSLA steel frames, which are high strength, low alloy frames. Again, this came from the aerospace industry. So they've put more money into designing this vehicle than they have anything else in their entire line. And this is the new face of CFMOTO. This is where CFMOTO is going. We've seen where they are, where they've been. This is where they're going. They want to be first in line in the marketplace. They want to be the Polaris, the Honda, the Can-Am. They want to be in that top group, right? Other signs that we can see that happening are the different manufacturers who are starting to produce aftermarket accessories for them. Super ATV, Octane Ridge, High Lifter. There's many different brands that are starting to produce accessories for CFMOTO. And again, you don't want to exceed a payload of 507 pounds without running it in low gear. And this unit also has a sport and a normal mode. So this is built into the programming of this unit, that it has a normal operation mode and then it has a sport mode, which gives it more power. The thing is, with that extra power, it will outperform uh, any of our normal vehicles. But knowing this is just like in a car when they put a chip in it and it changes the fuel to air ratio and things like that to give you more performance, it comes at a price, right? You put more fuel into it, it's going to use fuel more quickly. So those kind of things play a factor. So it's not that you have to run it all the time in this, but if you need that optimal performance out of the vehicle, it has that adjustment on there to give you that, and it's all computerized and it happens instantly. So all good things to know about this vehicle. Does anybody have any questions? No? I appreciate you guys coming to the class today, and I hope everybody takes something away of value. And if you have any other questions, just let us know.